Bro, what is up with that one, bro?
My G87 M2 gained an insane amount of power with not much effort.
Yo, the car is so much more fun with the tune. That's it, I just gotta say it.
All it took was less than 30 minutes of my time, a plug-and-play solution, and nothing else. Straight up magic. And the best part, anybody with a modern BMW can achieve similar results.
Guys, this is probably going to be one of the most exciting videos that I've made in a while because the M2 is finally going to gain some power. What you guys see here on the table is a performance tuner from a company called Dahler. They do make this product for other BMW engines and models, but today we're going to be focusing on the S58. This is a plug-and-play solution that's going to allow my M2 to gain up to 100 horsepower. And the best part, guys, I don't have to remove the car's DME and send it overseas to Finland to get unlocked. That's right, factory locked ECU that can gain up to 100 horsepower, and you don't need any supported mods. M2 stock. Isn't that great?
For those of you that are new to piggyback tunes, such as the Dahler one, in a nutshell, here's how they work. By plugging the included connectors and module, the signals are intercepted and manipulated, then sent to the car's DME. So for example, let's say the car's target boost is 14 PSI. Well, the module will trick the DME to think that it's only making 10 PSI. The DME will then adjust accordingly to hit the quote-unquote target 14 PSI. In reality, the car is making more boost, but the DME thinks it's within its factory values. Very clever.
You also get a bypass plug. What this is used for, once you have everything installed, instead of having to disconnect and remove everything to go back to your factory tune, all you have to do is remove the harness from here and plug this up, and boom, you're right back to your factory tune, guys. Super simple. They also include zip ties to organize everything in the engine bay. It looks like a keychain right here, decals, and some Velcro attachments. Lastly, you get an install guide, which comes with detailed step-by-step directions and colored images, which is something very rare that you get from companies nowadays. I'm gonna leave a link to this specific unit down in the video's description, along with other popular models that Dahler supports. Also, make sure to email us if you have any questions. Now, let's install it.
All the connectors are labeled with numbers and colors, which make connecting them to the correct sensors a breeze. Dahler does recommend professional installation, so make sure to reach out to us if you want our shop to install it. The first connector has a green label with number 1, which is for the boost sensor on the intake manifold. The next connector has a purple label with number 2, which is for the second boost sensor. The third connector with the orange label with the number 3 is for the camshaft sensor. And lastly, the fourth connector with the blue label is for the rail sensor.
Again, this is a plug-and-play solution, so it shouldn't take more than an hour to install. So, quick note, before you attempt to do this yourself, make sure that either your battery's disconnected or the car's fully asleep. So make sure the car's off, and then place the keys far away so the car doesn't detect it and it doesn't turn back on. Because if not, you're gonna have a bunch of codes and you're gonna be responsible for that, not us. I'll show you the locations to where all the connectors go, but first we'll have to remove the strut tower braces and the engine cover and the driver's side intake here so we can access all of the locations. There you go. So boost sensor number 1 here, easily accessible. The second boost sensor is down here, which is extremely hard to even show you guys where it's at. Got a bunch of coolant lines here, and all the way at the very bottom, below the water pump, is the sensor. That's probably gonna be the biggest pain in the ass out of the entire install procedure. I'll show you that other boost sensor later on once I move some things out of the way. Moving on to the rail sensor, which is right here, and right next to it is the camshaft sensor, which is right there. So out of the 4 sensors that you have to plug into, one of them is kind of difficult, the other 3 are pretty easy. We'll start off with the intake sensor. To remove these connectors, use a pry tool, small flat head, pull out, and then just push it. That's it, you press it in, it releases. So plug in just like the OEM one right here, just like that, and then we'll lock it into place. And then the OEM connector is gonna connect to the other plug from the Dahler harness. There's only really one way you can insert it, so you'll know if you're doing it right or not. And then we will lock it into place just like that. All right, so I can't take credit for what I'm about to do. I actually saw it in the Keys and Motorsport video. 10 mil nut, release here. The coolant hose here, we'll release it from the little bracket here and try to move the water pump out of the way so we can access the boost sensor, which is underneath it. Don't get confused, because there's a very similar sensor right here towards the backside. That's not the one you want to get to, it's the one below. So the location, the big giveaway is the little white tab that locks it into place. It's down there. As you can see, we're getting a second set of hands here. I'm holding up the water pump and pulling up on the coolant hoses while he connects the connectors. All right, moving on to the rail sensor. And lastly, we have the camshaft sensor, which is right there. Holy sh**. Bro, what is up with that one, bro?
They sing hallelujah.
Voila.
So now I just have to choose where to put the module at, which is gonna be obviously away from the engine, away from any kind of heat. So it's either gonna be right here in this section underneath the cowl cover, or the opposite side.
Are you drunk?
Or the opposite side. And then I'm gonna go ahead off camera and organize all the cables so it looks nice. I tried to route everything as best as I could. Did try to do the module on here since other automotive YouTubers have installed it in this section, but then the power and the ground wouldn't reach this side, which is where Dahler recommends you install that to. Right here for the negative, right here for the positive. So I figured, you know what, I'll just put the module on this side. There's a ton of empty space in there. As far as the plug, I did leave enough room in case I wanted to go back to the stock tune. I can just unplug it and plug in the bypass that's included. And I tucked in all the cables underneath this coolant line here that goes to the expansion tank. So the intake sensor right here, zip tied it together with the boost sensor down there, routed it underneath this, zip tied it right here. For the rail sensor, I went ahead and zip tied right here. For the camshaft sensor, I zip tied right here, which sits right on top of the engine, but doesn't really matter because the beauty cover goes over it, so you won't be able to see much of that. Negative cable, routed it underneath where you can't see it, underneath this rubber section, and right there. All you have to do is loosen this up with a T50, just a little bit, slide the ground wire in there with a little attachment and you're good. Same for the positive, T50, loosen it up, and as you guys can see, there's the positive right there. And then the fuse is on this side. And just like the cables on top of the engine bay, the ones right here, you won't be able to see once you put the cowl cover back on. So here's what it looks like when everything's installed. Stroke tower braces, beauty cover, the cowl covers up top here and there. Literally, you can't really see what's going on here. If you really wanted to nitpick and you really knew what you were looking for, you got some of the wires here, which is okay because you normally have lines there anyways. And then how I routed these right behind the expansion tank right there. But there's really not much going on here. And I don't know, kind of looking like a sleeper right here. All right, let's go ahead and start the car for the first time. It's always a good idea to scan your car before doing the Dahler installation. That way, in case you do have codes, you don't blame it on the product. And of course you want to scan afterwards just to make sure everything's installed properly. Because I know somebody's going to ask, this diagnosis tool is from a company called Topdon. We actually use a few of their scanners here in the shop. And if you're interested in one, we do sell them directly, so I'll link them down in the video's description. All right, all green. That is what you call a good install. Guys, we're located in Orlando, Florida. If you guys are uneasy about doing this installation yourself, you can always let us do it. We are an authorized dealer and installer for Dahler. So send us an email, hit us up on Instagram, and we'll take care of you. This next step is not necessary, but it's pretty handy. You can download an app called Tuning Controls that integrates with the Dahler module via Bluetooth, and from there you can choose the map that you want. You got race, comfort, and eco. Out the box, race is selected by default, regardless if you use the app or not. Or you can use the controls on the module itself. But it's pretty handy since, you know, you might be driving around and want to change it on the fly. All right, so first drive with the Dahler tune installed. Let's see if we can get close to 100 horsepower gains. That would be very fun, especially on a car that's stock. I think that's the incredible part about all of this. 100 horsepower, almost 100 torque on stock everything. We're still gonna do a dyno session in this video, and we're gonna do a 60 to 130 to see exactly how much performance we gain. So stick around. Since I don't know what to expect, we'll do second gear first. Like if I'm doing a 40 roll race pretty much. So 40 miles an hour, second gear, let's see what happens. Slippery on that lower end, but I was able to put the power down. Pretty bearable. I can tell you for sure though, before the tune, second gear wasn't getting squiggly like that. And the car feels like it has a lot more in the top end now, and that torque lag that used to be present on this car in its stock form seems to eliminate that lag just a bit as well. All right, let's try it again.
so hard to judge because I know the car's going fast. I was over 100 miles an hour. But 100 miles an hour on a 2023 car versus a, I don't know, 2009 BMW 335i, it's a big difference. 100 miles an hour on a car like this feels like 60 miles an hour. 100 miles an hour on an E90 feels like 200 miles an hour. So it's going fast for sure. And I can feel it, but it's not like super dramatic, right? Let's try a first gear pull. Oh my God, okay. Yeah, so just what I expected, there was no traction. I was playing with the gas in order to get traction back. A lot saucier than the stock tune. That is for sure a lot more torque. Let's try it again. Hey! I was able to power through and enjoy the car, so that was fun. The car is so much more fun with the tune. That's it. I just gotta say it. It's authentic smile right here. I ain't faking it. This shit is saucy. Me like it. Alright, so we already did draggy with this car back in the past with its stock form, and I was actually quite disappointed with the numbers. I mean, it was really bad. I think it was like 11 or 12s, 60 to 130, which is a good measurement for performance. So I guess we'll do a 60 to 130 now so we can compare, see if we can shave a second or seconds. We'll see.
To measure the M2's 60 to 130 time, we use Draggy, which is a pretty cool performance tracker that gets its information from satellites and connects to your Android or Apple device via Bluetooth. I decided to do 2 runs. One starting on second gear, which has more power up front but requires an additional gear change.
60. Quarter mile. 130.
And the other one in third gear, which would only require 1 gear shift for the entire run.
60. Quarter mile. 130.
The fastest time I could get was on third gear, which was 9.21 seconds. Compare that to the run I did a few months ago when the car had no tune, and I was able to shave off nearly 2 seconds, which is very, very impressive.
Alright, so we just got the M2 to CT performance tuning. It's a shop that I was just introduced to. I've seen it on other YouTubers channels like F58 Ho. I figured I'd give it a shot since the other spots weren't available. Pretty promising. They do use a Dyno jet dyno, which is very similar to the setups I used in the other shops before, so we can get a better comparison from stock to now with the Dahler tune. Check it out, guys, we make some freaking crazy horsepower, 154 to the wheel.
After 2 runs, here's how much power my M2 made with the Dahler tune. 540 horsepower and 468 torque for the first run. The second run made 530 horsepower and 479 torque. And as expected, the third one ended up yielding the best results.
Guys, that is pretty unreal. 539 horsepower and 483 torque. That is unreal for a fully stock car with no supporting mods.
As a comparison to when I first dynoed my M2 without the tune, with the Dahler tuner module installed, the car gained 66 horsepower and a whopping 83 pound-feet of torque. Keep in mind that although this was a Dyno jet dyno, it wasn't the same one we used before, so results may vary.
I am super impressed. If you have an S58, you don't want to go through the hassle of sending out your ECU and actually flashing it. Just want to plug this up, make some power fast without any mods. I highly recommend it. I also got to give a big thanks to CTP Tuning. These guys came in the clutch when no other dyno was available, and now I think they're going to be my go-to going forward for my other cars.
Make sure to like the video if you enjoyed it, and I encourage you guys to watch the video that is on screen now to see how I converted a bunch of haters to now love the new M2. As always, thanks for watching. Till next time.